Hey guys, me TDF.
And it's me, Snakera.
And welcome to our special Shadow the Hedgehog commentary.
Special's the word for this game. Oh my.
It does describe it fairly well. This is basically Sega's attempt to go to the mature and hardcore audience that they attracted with the SA2 crowd, I would assume.
Yeah. He just cocked an MP5. An MP5 is not a shotgun, you don't cock it with the fucking handle. Error number 1.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have to keep like a whole counter of things this game gets wrong.
We'll be dead.
Look at that, okay, I'm sorry, that's totally unrealistic, but it's so awesome at the same time.
I'll get there.
Yeah, this game at least has some style with it.
I do admit to liking this opening cutscene.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
It does give a sense of devastation, but at the same time, I'd rather be playing a game about playing as one of these blokes. Rather than some emo hedgehog who can teleport.
Ah! That face.
We just run down High Street, this place don't look fucked up.
I like how Shadow single-handedly, unlike all the other games, has the ability not only to teleport at will like that, but also to apparently beat the crap of all the Sonic characters. Look at this. I am a Mary Sue!
And there's Mary Sue Commander. And there's Faggot, the Commander. Or he was named as Brutus, right, in like the extra materials. Even though it's never explicitly said. That face...
I want to teabag you!
That is the angriest fucking face in all video games.
I'm acting!
Anger! Seriously, that's all I bought the game for. I wanted to murder the main character. I just thought, oh okay, it's not going to be canonical, but it will be fun as fuck. And then you don't even get to fight him properly.
One thing I really hate in this game with Shadow CGI model is I think his eyes are like way too fucking big. Like look at his pupils are so dilated. You'd think he's just been like in the dark for like 50 years.
He technically was, wasn't he?
Okay, well yeah, good point taken. But that was back in SA2. I guess his eyes still haven't reverted back to being outside.
It's the only thing I can remember. That's the thing, at least he doesn't look to have the double eye that everyone else has rocking.
Oh yeah, this scene,
That fucking... She freaks me out. I honestly think she's a fucking genetic experiment gone wrong.
Look at this. Okay, see, in the Japanese version it doesn't fade to white. In the Japanese version you actually see her hit the ground.
Well, the whole reasoning for that was they recently got out like something like an E7 rating on Peggy or something, or a teen rating, so they decided, okay, we'll lower it to get down there, when they originally wanted to go much edgier.
Actually, I remember it was like something like recently the E10 rating was just created, so they originally made this T for teen and it included like the aliens actually dripping red blood and stuff, but then they wanted to change some things to make it the E10 rating, and they did things like change the alien blood to green and stuff.
I love how nonchalant Shadow is in this thing, like stupid humans reacting to an alien invasion.
Did you know that Doom's eye is really a chocolate starfish?
I didn't know that, but is a chocolate starfish a euphemism?
It's really Black Doom's asshole.
Ah, okay.
Who are you? How do you know I'm Shadow? And what are you talking
Look at his lips. They're like protruding so much.
It's not SA1 levels, but it still fucking looks dumb.
Shadow has dick-sucking lips.
Just what was that all about?
Of course.
If he says he knows the truth about who I am,
The only thing Shadow can remember is how to monologue to himself.
the only way I'm gonna get the secrets
If he's the only one who says this, I must believe him. Was he programmed to be gullible? I mean, that would explain why I can change size up to 5 times and Shadow doesn't comment, wait, I'm a fucking schizo. I actually did want at one point just to like, you'd see the map screen and you'd find out that I've gone completely up and down. But then I realised putting effort into the actual map screen for myself would have been too much. Now we actually have some gameplay to talk about.
Yeah, okay, I actually think this is a really good way to introduce the game, though. Like,
on neutral.
Right. I think this level actually does really well encompass what people are expecting from a Shadow game.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it, but I think my favourite level is probably Sky Troops or something, but this one is perfectly good.
Yeah, I mean, this is good as like an introductory, to set the mood and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, sort of, until the game decides to fuck itself over with the mood or whatever. Nice touch.
I can't kill that fuck. Now, just showing off you still got the spin dash, it's fucking worthless.
Yeah, well, using the spin dash should somehow probably launch yourself into the air and then die.
Yeah. We got our punches, we still got horrible camera. You know, it's a Son. You can tell it's a fucking Sonic game.
I never liked how wide Shadow freaking stretched his like thighs when he's skating in this game.
It does make you feel
thing.
nervous that I'm gonna hit something.
Yeah, I mean, he not only does he feel slippery, but he looks slippery as well. I mean, granted, maybe yes, he's skating on those freaking shoes, but in SA2 he at least felt it looked like solid. In this game, he feels just, yeah.
He just kind of goes all over the place, but you'll see a point in the LP where suddenly I start playing a ton better, and I'm not sure. I think part of me just kind of adapted to this. We kind of just. The thing about this is there's no real point to picking up anything but the most frequent guns, because everything will die in 2 or 3 hits except the big enemies, and they're so slow you can just spam shots on them.
Okay, one thing I did really enjoy doing, I remember right when I first got this game, I spent quite a lot of time just destroying everything as possible. I'll just like manually go around to every tree and break into every signpost and just smack it, because I was so enthralled by this new physics.
It was quite nice, not to mention the fact that you would be it's actually quite surprising sometimes what they've decided you can pick up. I think
a school bus full of children.
Oh yeah, that surprised me, but more to the point that if you knock down that signpost, it was a melee weapon.
Yeah, that was actually pretty. I thought that was cleverly done.
There's also, I didn't actually think about it until now, but there's no invincibility pickup in this game, but that's because you power up with it. Also, I'm trying to look over there because on my first attempt recording this game, there's an extra life over there, but I died every time I tried to get it. So
it's in remembrance of all the Shadow clones who had to die.
Yeah. It would be nice. It's like all the clones that had to die. If it did some shit like destroy all humans where you die and it says Shadow Mark II has been unleashed for every time you die until eventually like Shadow Mark 2000.
Right, so I'm gonna take the liberty of explaining how your energy bars work. So basically there are 2 sides to every stage, and depending, even if you take the neutral road, depending on who you kill, you can get either one of the powers, either the good Chaos Control or Chaos Blast. You earn energy for your Chaos Blast by killing the good guys, and earn energy for your Chaos Control by killing the bad guys. Chaos Blast basically makes this incredibly huge explosion that kills everyone within a radius, and you basically get to spam it until your energy bar runs out. But the Chaos Control, in my opinion, is actually really amazing, because it just actually, when you use it, it teleports you. It doesn't teleport you, but like it sort of just lets you fly through the stage. And while another just, you know, as you saw already, shit gets blurry. And I actually think that was really cool. I thought the Chaos Control was really awesome when you were using it.
It felt nice. And also, if you don't use either of them, you have a period of invincibility and infinite ammo, so you can trade them off, basically.
Actually, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, it's... I mean, on some points, it's more on the missions where you have objectives, sometimes it's more beneficial to just ride it out, and if you have loads of enemies around you, they still pile up, so... On some levels, especially near the end, where they just spam enemies at you, you could get, like, you know, a Chaos Control bar full, and then, because you have infinite ammo, just keep spamming gunshots everywhere, and you can basically be invincible and have infinite ammo for a very large stretch of time.
Neato. You know, despite the fact that Shadow picks up clips in this game, you never actually see him reloading your gun, and there's no way to reload your gun.
A bit too complicated for the kiddies. We just need more bullets. As you'll notice, I keep going for the pistol because it's an M1911, and I'm a gun fag who likes M1911s.
I have no idea any of these guns. I just know, oh look, it shoots metal. That's good enough for me.
I'm making gun comments in a Sonic game. This feels unnatural. It's... Actually, wait, making gun comments in a Sonic game should feel plot relevant. Either way. Don't worry, I start cutting loading screens out, but they're hardly obnoxious. I just wanted to keep them in for a little while. But you will see that they're all spliced out in later parts.
Apparently this scene was a lot darker in the Xbox and PS2 versions. Completely useless information trivia, but...
Yeah. Do you mean darker as in it wasn't rendered as well, or do you mean he turns around and says, "Fuck you, soldier. we're all gonna die"?
No, unfortunately. I mean darker as in, like, the lighting wasn't as, you know, bright. The lighting was as luminous.
That's a shame. I was hoping I was right. I really, really was.
Well, actually, apparently, the general guy right here, he does clench his fist all over dramatically and anime-like in the PS2 and Xbox versions, so that counts for anything.
I guess.
I gave you an order, soldier. He's evil and he's the
Look at that. He's evil. He would work really well. It's like him.
This game is actually, if you think about it, a very deep commentary on immigration. I kept thinking...
Mexicans are evil and they are the enemy.
Yes, and he keeps calling them the Black Aliens.
Oh ho ho.
Oh ho. Think about this for a second, lads. Step back. I mean, it's a kid's game, kind of. Somewhat. Just love how he's, like, strutting down the street, swagger with those 2 emeralds.
Tells me what to do.
Strutting like I owned the
I'm used
place.
for collecting chaos emeralds.
You really don't understand.
You don't really understand the
Implications.
implications. It's a combination between ramifications and implications.
We've coined a word here at Comcoms.
Professor.
Courtesy of TDF.
Thank you, thank you.
You know, you'd never think, this guy doesn't look trustworthy now I think about it.
Silence.
I must dominate every scene!
My entire... Okay, yeah, he does have a pretty sexy voice, even if it sounds like he's gurgling semen.
Christ. That would explain why he's so pissed off all the time if he has to constantly gurgle semen. Now, should we explain the fact that that there's a teleport between every stage and how that tries to hold the story together?
If you want to.
Okay, well, basically, near enough at the end of every stage, you teleport by whatever means to the next part. That's because you can't properly string a fucking story like this together because of the moral choice system. So, every stage has you being shot elsewhere by teleportation. You don't actually have to explain why you've been shot off somewhere.
Whoa. I guess I underestimated his powers.
Well, think about it. I mean, it still makes more sense than in Sonic Heroes' story progression, where it's literally, you know, like Sega just picked a level, level theme out of a hat and just like, okay, we're not gonna even bother explaining this. There's just like I can just imagine, like in Sonic Heroes, there's like an obvious divide between each level, and they just accept it. I mean, at least here they explain it with teleportation. In Sonic Heroes, it's like just pow.
That's a good point, but I kind of got... But wasn't it like a thing, there's a retro vibe in it that just kind of makes you ignore it at times?
Yeah, I mean, I have said this before, like, I don't believe I've said it in the commentary, but I have told you personally.
Yeah.
That I think Heroes is probably one of the more retro-inspired 3D games.
I actually, you know, when I did feel it, I'm actually inclined to agree with you on that one. It does... Level designs just feel retro in that sense, and you can get a vibe for them. I never really thought about it before, though. Well, this game is a serious story that's trying to shoot you all over the place.
Yeah, one of the things that really hampers this game's serious story, is the aesthetic of it, because this game uses the same engine as Heroes, and the Heroes' engine was designed to like have this oversaturated, really high contrast look to it. Like everything, all the colors really popped in Heroes, and they were really vivid. And it just looked like a very colorful game. That does not work for this kind of game where it tries to be dark and serious, because it just comes off as looking cartoony, and it just doesn't work together. Like I thought, because I thought whatever engine that SA2 used was actually really well suited for the game, considering all the colors in SA2 looked really desaturated and had this like sort of they all blended really well together and gave it a sort of realistic look almost.
Worked with the story.
Yeah.
With this, I mean, they did well. If it's the same thing, I didn't actually know it was same engine as Heroes until you told me again. I didn't really. I mean, the color palette for me I think it was just trying to look dark to fit with the story, but it just ended up looking shit. Basically, it's like browns everywhere because it's a hopeless looking world.
Maybe Shadow the Hedgehog was a precursor to all of the FPS games out recently.
Perhaps they were ahead of the time.
Sega was like, we might as well catch in on this whole brown and green FPS thing going on. Uh-oh, I think we might make Neo mad.
Inafune was just in there and he was like, right lads, next few years it's just going to be brown and greys. We got to be ahead of the curve. And they were like, how do you know this? And he just kind of, by that point he just kind of walked off out of the office. He's just kind of walking out going, they're going to love this shit.
I always wonder why the hell are I mean, I guess from a gameplay perspective, yeah, they make the bullets red to make them more distinctive and visible, but it just looks really strange. I always thought it looked like they're firing lasers or something.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it's firing a laser as well.
It doesn't sound like real gunshots.
Well, it's a kid's game, kind of. I have to add kind of to qualify that statement.
Did you know that the gun that Shadow holds in the box art for this game never actually appears in the game?
Yeah, I actually noticed that. Actually, the thing is, after I beat the game, I unlocked the Shadow rifle, but like I said, I recorded this game, not this part, obviously. I did this on a separate day. I recorded the last several stories in a stretch that left me drained. So I decided never to go back and play this game. So I never got to see that shadow rifle, and I frankly can't give half a fuck.
Okay, this game did have some purposefully ignoring Knuckles.
Yeah, I didn't want it to change my objectives.
This level also presents one of the most obvious flaws of this game, is that even if you're on Doom's side, you still have to kill his own aliens in order to progress the level, and he still bitches at you like, Shadow, you betrayed me!
Also, there's no real friendly AI in the game.
Yeah,
so...
I know. I mean, no, actually, I do believe they become passive. Like, some of them, like the regular troops, become passive if you're on the side, but if you shoot them, they'll attack you anyway.
No, actually, I remembered from a note that I'd read that you get a healing gun after you beat the game on thing, and people who you revive are apparently friendly, which means there's friendly AI in the game. It's just, I guess they're accounting for the fact they couldn't know truly whether or not you're neutral. I'm not certain, but that's giving them too much credit, frankly. I'm actually just trying to grind. I'm actually just trying to grind for chaos control here.
Yeah, chaos control does look very cool, as I said in the last level.
Plus, it's only really useful on neutral, but why am I grinding it? The fucking end is right there. Extra life. But considering all things, I saw this set of levels several times over the course of this.
I take orders from no one.
According to this game, actually, I should have mentioned this when we were back in Westopolis. Maybe I'll save it for the next script, I'll just tell you now.
Go ahead.
Apparently, according to the Shadow the Hedgehog game article on the Sonic Wikia, you have to beat... Oh, where is it? You have to beat Westopolis. To get 100%, you have to beat Westopolis like 326 times.
The fuck? Well, yeah, because they have a separate... Because for every story path you take, they have a separate name, and I was actually hoping we weren't going to have to talk about the library, because I was going to show it off when we did our second path through this game. But every time you beat the game, and well, in a different way, you get a path unlocked, which basically has a unique name, and if you press on it, you get to watch all the marvelous cutscenes in order, telling you... So, and I just feel sorry for the man who just, like, they came in, they handed him all the cutscenes, and he just kind of said, right, Steve, you're going to have to name all these. What are you talking about, Jeff? Well, we made this library function, you're going to have to name all of them. But
okay, I'm going to have to interrupt you here for a second, but here's the most obvious plot hole in the game. When the fuck was that picture taken? Shadow freaking was thought to be dead after what happened in SA2, and this picture was apparently taken after SA2 took place, so... Yeah, when the hell?
He was photoshopped in.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
like,
okay.
Sonic just wants to be friends with Shadow, so he photoshopped Shadow into his picture.
Sonic needs Shadow. Right, so what were you saying before? Sorry. You know.
I was making up a story about Steve and Jeff, the cutscene directors, but they're dead now. They named all the cutscenes. Jeff named all the cutscenes and then died. It's a sad tale.
Here's another plot hole. So, remember what happened to Prison Island in SA2?
Detonation?
Yeah, it got blown to freaking Kingdom Come.
Yep.
Well, here we are again.
Well, the place doesn't mean the place was destroyed, it just means the place was fucked up. And the vegetation has creeped in, so what you could say is the cell was blown open, they abandoned the island, and the vegetation grown in. The land is mossy there.
I mean, there are theories... Oh, here's from flashback to SA2. Well, it is speculated that possibly, like, this is like a deeper underground section.
That's right.
So maybe this part did stay intact. I don't know. It's just the fact that, upon first glance, you'd think that this would get blown up with the rest of it.
Now think about it. Tails' stage on SA2, you know, where you actually went through to get Sonic out of prison. This design just really doesn't feel the same for this area.
First of all, like, Tails' version of Prison Island had a more blue theme to it, and was...
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Keep talking.
God damn it. You and your evil-ness, Snake. This is not acceptable.
Hey, it won't be like Neo telling his mother to get the fuck out of the room.
Okay, good point.
Now, as you'll see, I will never let Charmy talk for more than 2 fucking seconds.
There really needed to be a more streamlined way to change your mission objective, like maybe just something that didn't have to require to pause the game.
The D-pad does nothing in this game, I don't think, so why not just, like, press left and right to change on the fly? Oh,
yeah.
well. Now here we have another gameplay mechanic that you'll see in a couple of levels. You have whatever the fuck this goo is. call it the transport goo.
What the fuck are you doing, dude?
I was being indecisive. And some of the boxes have rings in them. I can use that vine as a melee weapon, but there is only one useful melee item in the game, and we don't have it yet.
What is that?
The samurai sword actually does a decent amount of damage, and it actually has a ranged attack that doesn't take ammo away.
Look at this primitive bloom effect.
Again, ahead of their time. They were just setting up the way, man. It's like this game's a deep social commentary. It's also a deep innovator.
It's just that people couldn't really realize its artisticness.
I mean, like, people thought it was Halo that blended vehicles and shooting on a console really well. No, it was this game.
Actually, I think Halo might have come before this game.
That's
Halo
my...
1.
Yeah, it was. That's the point of the joke.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm stupid.
Okay.
Now that I've got that out of the way.
Yeah, now this is one... Now, we haven't talked about the disc, but it's one of the actual things that handles somewhat decently on this game.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Doesn't turn too well, but... I mean, you can still fire in all your directions, and it's still somewhat comfortable to ride around on.
What do you think of the alien guns versus the human guns?
I prefer the human guns. I'm not sure if they have a balance, like one has more damage and the other one has more ammo or something like that. I'm not really certain, I just think it's a difference in aesthetics in most cases. We can ignore the bigger enemies for the time being, because they are annoying sons of bitches. It's just... Now...
Have you ever actually... Oh, lol.
There I go.
Yeah, the homing attack really did suck in this game. It seemingly works fine at first, but then you realize as the game progresses that it seems to launch you off, you know, the platform more and more.
Yeah, well, I definitely prefer it here over Heroes again. And I will note that in playing this, I found out that the fact that I find this much worse than Sonic 06, but you handle a lot better in this game. You have a feeling of weight, so therefore I can actually judge jumps properly and things like that. And you don't stop on a dime, which means there's a reasonable, you know, amount of control. But how do I describe it? I've lost my wording. This game does that to people.
I don't know, I didn't find the homing attack that terrible in Heroes. At least I found this one was much better. Or much worse, what the hell must be.
I think maybe it's because on Heroes, enemies felt a bit tougher. They had the health bars on there that were ridiculous in some cases.
Oh god, those metal armored guys. Yuck.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that when we
turtles.
actually do the Heroes playthrough.
Oh yes.
Which will be a lot of fun, playing the same game 4 times.
To be fair, in the course of this playthrough, I saw Westopolis at least 10 times. But then that's just one stage, as opposed to... yeah. You get it right, you can skip a whole chunk, but I fucked up. There's not much to
Look how big the freaking gun is compared to him, and he's only holding it like with one hand.
Guess I have to go on.
He's a left-handed son of a bitch, isn't he? What the fuck is that animation? Does it a bit more flashily. Big switches.
Yeah, something I must tell you. So before I was playing, we were recording this, I was playing through Shadow on the GameCube emulator to get back in the feel of it, and it's practically the same. I have a 360 controller, so you know. But whatever. So what happened was that the emulator cocked up and it made Shadow headless, and it was quite entertaining to play with a decapitated Shadow model.
Jump on those, press A, skip massive level chunks, and you'll want to do that because if you're playing this game, you want to be in it for as short a time as possible, basically.
This game was made to be speedrun.
Yeah, not out of any sense of, well, I must brag to people. It's more a sense of, well, you know, we better get this shit over with.
Right. I primarily like played this game just so I could see what happened to Shadow, like plot-wise, because Shadow was like. All Heroes did when it came to Shadow's story really was say, okay, so Shadow's got a bunch of androids. That's basically it. There was supposedly something, because at the end of the last story in Heroes, spoiler alert, you know, they pick up Metal Sonic's, like, dead robot corpse. But nothing happens with that, they just sort of dump it in this game.
There it is, the Chaos Emerald.
Well, I'm never going to play Free Riders, but apparently he turns up there.
Took you a bit there.
I wanted there to be a slow saunter to the Emerald, kind of victory march, as it were.
I found it. The
Look at that
fourth
white
emerald.
light. He's actually just picked up a fucking lamp.
Aw, Snake, you gotta disappoint all of us.
Ah man, I know. Which is sad because by the end of this I could fucking A rank all these levels with no effort because of the amount of times I had to fucking play them. Oh well, see you part 2.